up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is going to be your review. It's another retro review. We are here. This is The Wire season 1 episode 2. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. First of all, I want to give a shout out to my boy LTeddy27 and my girl Abby Reviews, who are also doing the same shows, retro review. You guys check them out, check us out, see how we feel. We don't discuss it with each other before we do our review. So as I'm going back and I'm looking at this stuff and I'm remembering as we're going through, and some of these characters I remember. Anyway, this has been a real cool experience. Anyway, so we start this episode off with the autopsy. We see Bunk, we see McNulty down to the coroner's office for the autopsy on Gant, and they're like, yeah, that's the, and you know, McNulty was like, yeah, that's definitely the guy that testified in the Barksdale trial. But everybody is trying to figure out, why in the world would they kill him? Like, D'Angelo got off, why would they kill him after the fact? Well, because he did still, you know, he did identify D'Angelo in court, and they were like, you know, it just sends a message like, yeah, D'Angelo ended up getting off, but it doesn't change the fact that this dude couldn't be bought, he couldn't be bribed, he couldn't be threatened, and that's just not good for business. Now, before I go any further, let me just say, I made a mistake in my first review. I said that was Stringer Bell in the car with D'Angelo when he was going over the rules. That was not Stringer Bell, that was the other guy who, of course, the name escapes me now, but it wasn't him. So, sorry, you guys. I got it wrong. I apologize. I think I was just so excited to see Stringer Bell and all of his Bellness glory. I just got excited. Anyway, so McNulty makes a visit to the judge because, you know, and McNulty is like, yo, why did you put me out there? Like, you could have made that same phone call without using my name. And the judge was like, come on, McNulty, you knew I was going to use your name. Stop playing. He was like, okay, but you did not have to put me out there. You have made me persona non grata. Now they done got me on this damn detail. McNulty, excuse me, has no respect for authority. He has no respect for his new lieutenant. He's like, he got me down there with this little wannabe lieutenant. Like, he's trying to get the judge to get him out of it. And the judge is like, yeah, nah, I can't do nothing for you, player. So the judge, so he said, yeah, he said, but this lieutenant has no clue as to the best way to fix this. And he thinks that doing little buys are going to get to Barksdale, and it's not going to happen. And so the judge was like, well, the best way to make it happen, to put some pressure on everybody, is if we leak the story to the press about the witness being killed. And McNulty was like, nope, don't do it. My name is already mud. Don't put me in it. They're going to know it's me. Like, if you leak that story, it's going to automatically come back to me. Don't do it. And the judge was like, okay, well, I don't know what else you want me to do. Like, that's all I got for you. So then we see where Lieutenant Daniels, they have made it very clear that, and when I say they, I'm talking about the powers that be, the major and everybody else, has made it very clear that this case is not a case that they are really concerned with. They end up giving Daniels, they give him an office next to the boiler room in the basement. Look like the lights fixture don't even work. There's no furniture down there. Like, nobody has used this room in decades. It's probably a layer of dust this thick on the floor. And so, of course, I mean, that's definitely not good for morale, because it's like, well, damn, like, this is clearly not a priority for anybody involved. Then we find out, excuse me. So then we find out that he's basically, everybody's been dumping. Like, his unit now consists of Kima, Carver, and the other guy, McNulty, and then everybody else has been able to dump a couple of people into his unit. And so his thing is, you done turn my unit into like the misfits, basically. So clearly the message is sent that this is, you don't really want me to solve this case. You really don't want me to do anything. You just want to make it look like you did something. You created this special task force made up of officers, you know what I mean? And so he ends up going to the DA. And y'all know I'm trying to do better. I wrote my names down. Perlman. He ends up going to the DA. He ends up going to Miss Perlman and saying, look, I need your help. Like, you can't complain. I mean, like, I can't complain, but you can complain. Like, if I say it, it's not going to be a good look for me. But if you say it, it's coming from the DA saying, look, we need you to take this more serious. We need you to really put some work in. Like, come on. So the DA was like, yeah, no, I can't do nothing for you. She was like, I'm not getting in it. Like, bring me something I can work with, and then, you know, maybe I can make it happen. And they go back and forth, back and forth. And she was just like, look, I don't know what you want me to tell you. Daniels does eventually end up being able to kind of like bargain, like, look, you gave me the worst, now give me your best. And he ends up getting a couple of people that he does want to work with, but ultimately the unit is made up of people who are just waiting on retirement. It's a couple of drunks. I mean, it's just a whole bunch of folk that ain't really doing nothing. Now down to the towers, we got Bubs, who, remember, he went to Kima last week because he was upset about what they did to his boy. So he's helping Kima get some intel. And he was real slick with it. He got these hats because, you know, in the hood, it's always somebody selling something that they found. So Bubs is selling some hats that he found. And the clue for Kima was the red hat. If he gave somebody a red hat, that was somebody important that Kima should take a picture of. And if he put a different color hat on them, or a hat or didn't give them a hat at all, then they wasn't nobody important. And so her, Carver, and the other guy, and oh god, his name escapes me, the white guy. They were up on the roof, and Carver is with it. Carver is like, okay, Kima, what's going on? What we doing? Kim ain't really paying him no attention. He asking her insensitive questions about her sexuality and shit, you know, but whatever. Harmless, but rude, you know. But the white guy is feeling himself. He got an attitude. He not appreciating the whole situation. Now, while they're up on the roof, Bunk and McNulty are down harassing D'Angelo and his little crew down at the low risers, I should say. And they hanging out, they talking shit, you know. D'Angelo is like, look, don't say nothing, leave me alone. They over there on that dirty ass orange couch in the middle of the damn court. And, you know, they ain't really paying them no attention, but, you know, they talking that talk, you know, they doing what detectives do. They got the drugs, and they like, you know, those ain't our drugs, stop playing with us, you know, whatever. So while this is going on, somebody ends up calling down to the towers and saying, look, y'all need to get down here to the low risers because they got D'Angelo hemmed up. So Stringer Bell and the crew, they posse up and they go down there. Kima was on the roof when she saw all of them posseing up, and she was like, hold up, something going down. So Kima told Carver, look, you keep taking the pictures. My man Bubs is doing this. Take the pictures, anybody in the red hat, while I go find out where they're going and figure this out. So the white dude, he was like, who put Kim in charge? We got the same amount of stripes. She ain't shit. Carver was like, look, shut up. Let's get this done. That's important later. So Kima follows the posse, and she sees where they're going. And just as she's following them and they pull up, McNulty and Bunk, they see Stringer Bell and the crew pull up. So now they making a show of it, and they end up arresting D'Angelo and taking D'Angelo downtown. Now, over the murder of William Gann. Now, here's the thing. What's very evident as soon as they get D'Angelo in the box, let me rewind before I get to that part. Kima immediately calls the lieutenant and says, look, you need to get down here because your boy is tripping. Because, of course, Kima is like, you supposed to be over here with us, but you working this murder case today. That at that point, nobody had made a connection from that murder case to Barksdale. So Kima calls the lieutenant like, yo, McNulty is down here being, you know, he running, you know, he running cowboy down here. You need to get your boy. So they end up getting down to the box, and they get D'Angelo in the box, and you got Kima, you got McNulty, and you got Bunk. And it is evident, very, very clear, and very soon, it is evident that D'Angelo really ain't about that life. D'Angelo, he asked for his lawyer, but instead of asking for his lawyer and just shutting up, they get to talking to him about the guy that got killed, and they talking to him about, you know, he left this man without a father. He had kids, and all he was doing was minding his business, and he had no, you know, that wasn't right what they did. And you can see it's bothering D'Angelo. You see his face expression. You see he's like getting upset. So they go in for the kill. They go and show a picture of some kids. Talking about some, look at that. Left them without any parents. You left them without any parents. So D'Angelo starts talking about, I mean, all he was doing was mopping, minding his business. So of course they looking at each other like, he talking. So they convince him to write a letter to the guy, basically saying that you sorry that he done ran out of shit. I lost my train of thought. Sorry that he doesn't have that the kids don't have a father anymore. My bad, y'all. I lost my train of thought. And D'Angelo actually starts writing. Now, granted, his lawyer shows up, but not before they take that letter from D'Angelo. Now, mind you, the letter didn't say anything other than, I'm sorry that, I think it was something to the effect of, I'm sorry that your father was dead. If I could have stopped it, I would have, or something like that. But it's definitely not very incriminating. Downtown, you got Lieutenant Daniels has been called into a meeting with the deputy, the major, all the important people. And once again, they find out that McNulty then went down there and talked to the daggone judge. And they are like, what is it that we have to do to get McNulty to act like he got some damn sense? Like, what is wrong? Like, you need to control your man. And so, you know, Daniels is like, look, you done stuck me in a boiler room in the basement with, you know, the worst officers left on payroll. And what is it that you really expect me to do? And they were like, make a couple of arrests, make it look good, and let's get back to doing what we were doing. So then they brought up the piece about the witness and should they basically let people know. And they were like, no. Like, that's the worst thing that could get out, is that we can't protect, you know, our witnesses. Like, we don't have witness protection. We don't have any money to do anything. So, like, right now, the only time we can get a witness is if they decide to do it out the goodness of their heart. Like, we don't have nothing to offer them. The last thing we need is for that to make it into the news. So the lieutenant gets back from his meeting with, you know, the major and everybody. And, of course, he lays into McNulty. And he is like, look, you can't be out here just doing whatever you want to do. Like, right now, we're trying to work this case. I'm the lieutenant. I am your boss. You're going to do what I'm going to tell you to do. And McNulty was like, you got to show me you all in. And I was like, McNulty, who the hell you? How you get to tell him what he got to do? But, child, that's McNulty, honey. He stays the same all the way through. So just get used to it. If you don't know, you're going to find out. But the lieutenant was like, look, I do want to solve this case. Because I think now the lieutenant is realizing, like, he know that he in the catch-22. Like, but he has aspirations of moving up. And so he knows that this is a test. And he just got to make it happen. Now, anyway, so the lawyer came and got D'Angelo up out of there. But like I said, not before he didn't write that little letter, which of course doesn't really end up being nothing. So then we have a staff meeting. We meeting all the people that are now part of this task force, that go around the table and they introduce each other. Well, no, the lieutenant introduces them or whatever. So we meet Freeman. Freeman is an older, you know, black lieutenant detective who everybody sort of writes him off because he likes to work on he makes, I don't know, I forget now exactly all the ins and outs. I don't want to say doll houses, but he makes things, and that's what he does a lot of. But he's very intelligent. We're going to see as we go along exactly what he can do. We also meet Presbeluski. Now, Presbeluski, by all accounts, is a fuck up, okay? Matter of fact, his introduction to us was him shooting off his gun in that basement boiler room office. Because he was showing Carver, child. Anyway, but the reason why he's even still has a job, because come to find out, he's been fucking up all over the place, and they just keep moving him around. But he's married to an important person somewhere down the line. So that's why he still has his job. But it'll be interesting as we go through this series to see to see Presbeluski as he moves from season to season. Anyway, so, but that's Presbeluski, y'all. Kima and McNulty are starting to kind of, you see them starting to gel a little bit, starting to work a little bit, and they go to the lieutenant with the letter from D'Angelo. And basically, the lieutenant is like, it ain't nothing I can do with this. There's nothing here. And then technically, there isn't anything there. There is no big, um, revelation, right? But it is enough of a hint for them to say, okay, we know we're on the right road. All right, down to the community center, and somewhere we see Avon Barksdale having like a little community, little cookout, dinner, get together, whatever. D'Angelo's there with his baby and his girlfriend, and Barksdale ends up talking to D'Angelo, and I was like, here we go. And he's asking him, what did the detective say? What did you say to them? What's going on? And D'Angelo's telling him, he was like, look, man, they know a lot of names. Like, they know Weeble, they know Stringer Bell, they know this, they know that. And, he said, yeah, but what is it that you were writing? I mean, I was just writing a letter to, he was like, why are you writing a letter to anybody? I mean, they was sweating me, and, I was just saying I was sorry that he did. He was like, that's not your business. He said, and he was like, what? I mean, it was just messed up. He was like, what was messed up? I mean, go ahead, speak your piece, D'Angelo. What was messed up? He said, do you know if we killed him or not? No, I don't know. He said, exactly. You don't know. You don't need to know. Whether we did it or whether we didn't do it. You don't need to concern yourself with it. You don't need to get into it. Just keep doing what you're doing. He was like, you don't know nothing. And he doesn't. D'Angelo don't know shit. So, but you could definitely see where, Barksdale is like, okay, like next time you get hand up, just keep your mouth shut until the lawyer get there. Like, don't say shit. Just be quiet. Down to the boiler room, we see Bubs with Kima identifying the people in the pictures. They done got the pictures developed. You see Bubs there, and then McNulty comes in. That's where McNulty and Bubs meet, and they're going through the pictures. And Kima's like, look, this is one of my informants. Like, he's always been gold for me. He always gives me good info. And Bubs was like, yeah. He was like, I was making good money working for Kima, blah blah blah. And so McNulty was like, well, how much is this costing us? Bubs was like, oh nah, this one's free. Because they got, they got my boy, and they ain't even have to do that to him. Like, they beat him up, within an inch of his life over a couple of dollars. So, nah, this was free. I got you. And so, when he getting ready to leave, of course, he asking for a little something, because you can see he got the shakes, he got the itchies, and, he need to go get a hit. And McNulty give him a few dollars, and Keeman was like, you can't be, you gotta be careful with Bubs now. You're gonna spoil him. He was like, nah, but I really appreciate the information, that he gave us, because we got some names, we got some faces to put with those names. We kind of seeing who the players are, right? So, while this is going on, outside, we see, what did I say his name was? The dude that shot off his gun, Carver, and the other, the white guy, the white detective. The three of them are down getting drunk, and the white guy is in his feelings. He was like, we don't have to listen to Kima, fuck McNulty, fuck the lieutenant. We could do this ourselves. We don't need them. I say we go down to the towers right now and go show them who's boss. And they are drunk, okay? And, hold on, I wrote his name down. So I see, I'm trying to do better, y'all, with these names. I wrote his name down now. So I can say it right. Prebolowski. So Prebolowski, you could tell he wasn't really with it. He was kind of a little apprehensive about it. But he ended up going. Carver was like, yo, if you want to go, I'm going. Because, they like freaking frack. They two peas in a pod. So they end up going down to the towers. And, of course, as soon as they roll up, the lookout boys are like, yo, 505050. So everybody clears out. And they end up running into, like, this innocent dude that looked like he was just doing his daggone laundry, and another little kid. And they, they riled him up, throw his clothes on the ground, talking shit, yelling around. We the police, and we gonna be back every time, and we gonna shut this shit down. Because they're drunk, and they feeling themselves. And they in their feelings about having to answer to a woman. They get back to the car, and there's a little boy leaning up against the car, eating a bag of chips. And he, he talking shit, And him and Prebolowski end up going back and forth. And Prebolowski ends up hitting that boy dead in his face with the butt of his gun. He, like, pistol whipped him on his face. Now, let me say this. They were wrong for being there. They were wrong for their whole intention of showing up. But that little boy was wrong too for leaning up against the police car like he ain't had like he was wrong too, and he was talking shit to the police. Now, did he deserve to get, pistol whipped? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Um, so once they did that to the little boy, then all of a sudden, out of the from the top of the tower, they start dropping bottles. Right? They start dropping bottles. First, it started off with one bottle. That was their clue to get the hell in their car and get the hell out of there. Oh, but no, they want to look around. Who did that? Who threw the bottle? Somebody gonna say me. Next thing you know, here go another bottle, and here go another bottle. Then somebody, I think, must have thrown the whole damn 6-pack. Then they start just throwing anything. Now they can't get in their car because it's just stuff raining. It's stuff they calling for help. They radioing for help, talking about something they under fire. Then you hear gunshots because now the longer now the people getting bold, honey. They were pinned down underneath that damn car. We get to see a little bit of Lieutenant Daniels in his home life, and you meet his wife, and you can tell that they living that middle class life. They got the classical music playing in the background. They sitting there eating their dinner and all that good stuff. And she's telling, he's telling her, look, they done basically set me up. They got me on this bullshit case where I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't. And they've made it very clear that they really don't want me to work too hard on this case, but my ethics won't let me not work hard on the case, and she tells him, she was like, look, well, you know that we already working for something higher, so do what you got to do to get where we trying to get to, and you feel a little bit of tension between the two of them. But later on that night, Daniels gets a phone call and of course the phone call is about his police officers getting him down or hemmed up or whatever, with the car down to the Baltimore. Also, McNulty gets a phone call, and guess what? Guess what's on the front page of the Baltimore Sun or the Baltimore Times or whatever newspaper they're using? The situation about Mr. Gant getting killed and a witness in boxer and drug dealer trial is killed. So of course McNulty is like, you gotta be kidding me, because he specifically asked the judge not to say nothing, and somehow it ended up on the front page of the paper when it was the judge's suggestion that that's what they do. So he immediately goes to the judge, and the judge was like, look, you knew what I was gonna do. Stop playing. Now the judge denied doing it, but we know the judge did it. McNulty know the judge did it. And of course, the major and everybody is pissed off at McNulty all over again because, again, that's the last thing they wanted was for that to hit the front page. We see Daniels show up down to the towers, honey. By this time they done torched the car. The detective, not Carver, but the other detective, he got a bandage on his head. He done got busted up by one of the bottles, probably debris from one of the bottles, and got him in the head. And Daniels is like, have you lost your mind? I told y'all I didn't want no rogue. I didn't want no cowboys. What the fuck were y'all doing down here at 2 o'clock in the morning? Oh, we were just doing some field reports. He was like, what field reports were y'all doing at 2 o'clock in the damn morning? And of course, ain't nobody had no answers. Ain't nobody had nothing to say. He was like, so because y'all want to, play cowboy, now I'm down a police car, 2 Kevlar vests, a shotgun, 2 radios, like all of that, because that was in the car. And because y'all were down here on some bullshit, now this is what we're doing. And you look stupid. And now we got a situation with a little boy down in critical condition down at the hospital, and his mama is down at the police station filing criminal charges or filing, charges against y'all. And he was like, well, who hit the little boy in the face? Come to find out, the little boy is 14 years old. Who hit the little boy in the face? Oh, and I got ahead of myself. Daniels didn't get that phone call yet, but it don't matter. We'll get there. And he thinking it's Carver or the other guy. Come to find out it's Prebolowski. And he was like, what? He said, well, why did you hit the little boy? He gonna say, because he pissed me off. He said, y'all got about 2 hours to get y'all story straight. And he told Prebolowski, he said, no, he did not piss you off. You were in fear of your life. And he went through this whole, he gave him the whole scenario of what he needed to say to Internal Affairs, of how he needed to word the story, what language he needed to use, and everything else. Like, you can't say because the little boy pissed you off. Because what we end up finding out later on, when he did get that phone call, what the phone call was the little boy ended up losing his eye. So, like, yeah. You might not want to say he pissed you off. And that is pretty much what we have for episode 2. I know this got a little long, but y'all, so much goes on. All right, let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments. Peace.